Welcome to episode 7 of the Avgeeks Assemble Podcast. I'm Andrew and I'm your host again this week. In this episode, we have another very special guest joining us to talk all things photography, aviation and cycling. With me to speak to our special guest this week are Ant.
Hello.
And also Matt.
Hello.
How are you chaps? You all right?
Yeah,
not bad, mate. Yourself?
Good. Yeah, not bad. So before we introduce our guest for this episode, we do have some important news to share with you regarding the podcast. It is something we are very excited about, and we do want to tell everyone the good news. And take it away, mate.
Thanks very much. Yeah. So obviously, those of you in the AvGeek community will no doubt have heard of Co-op Online, which is Rich Cooper's new venture, where it brings everything together in one place. He's got merchandise, he's got a Facebook group, he's got Co-op TV and all these sort of wonderful things. And he's actually contacted us, and we're actually going to be part of the Co-op TV. So going forward from now on, you will start to see our podcasts in a video format, which is absolutely brilliant. Well, I say it's brilliant. I mean, you might not want to look at our faces every week, but at least, I think it's great news, and it's an absolutely brilliant opportunity for us to reach some more listeners. I don't know what you chaps think.
I agree. It is. It's a really good opportunity, and to be fair, really grateful to Rich and the guys over at Co-op. Because there's, putting a lot of trust in us. Like I say, this is only our 8th podcast. And the fact that, people like that hearing it and have faith in something like this is, it's really flattering. So obviously from myself and everyone else, to Rich and everyone, thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely. I echo that. I mean, Rich is, he's supported us. He's shared the podcast with his Facebook group on Co-op Online, and for us to be part of that now is just brilliant, and it just shows how Co-op Online is bringing the community together. And obviously they share similar values to us in that they want to sort of make it all inclusive and available to everyone. So I just want to say, obviously, that we will be keeping an audio version of the podcast.
Yeah.
So on top of joining Co-op TV, so you'll see our video version of the podcast on Co-op TV and YouTube, but you will still be able to listen to our audio version of the podcast on Spotify, and also, which I know some people have been waiting for, you'll now be able to listen to the audio version of the podcast on Apple Podcasts as well, which will please the Apple fanboys amongst us. So we won't get into that debate. That's another podcast. Sorry, mate. What was that?
No, I said just guilty because I am one of the Apple fans.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I like the Apple podcast, so I'm happy about that. So yeah, that's all good. So good times ahead, and hopefully people will enjoy the video podcast as much as they enjoy the audio one, because we've had some great feedback from it. Agreed.
Yeah. For the Apple podcasts, just search for all one word. Avgeeks Assemble, so it's AvGeeksAssemble, and that's all one word, Avgeeks Assemble. So basically, because as Ant said, we do know that a few of you have been asking for more ways of watching or listening to the podcast, so we hope that this helps to scratch that particular itch. If there are any other platforms you would like us to join, let us know through Instagram or Facebook, DM, whatever. And also, on top of that, we would love it if you would share the podcast wherever you listen to it or watch it now with your friends and groups on social media, especially if you think it's something they'll enjoy. But yeah, so with that aside, chaps, a little bit of chit chat to have before we get cracking. Now, the big news for me, I guess, I have finally been on a spotting trip.
Yes.
Now, yes, we have pretty much plastered these shots all over our social medias. So a few of us let's just start off by saying within the current regulations with COVID and things like that, because obviously we don't want anyone to get upset and start thinking we think we're above it. We did meet for a spotting trip outdoors, socially distanced, all of that. But to be honest with you, it was an epic few days. Like I say, my first ever spotting trip, and I miss it already.
Definitely, mate.
And Matt, are you shocked by that at all?
Not at all.
No.
Yeah, definitely not.
No, not at all, mate. I mean, like it's been so long coming this year that obviously just to be able to get out with your mates and sort of get back to the fence line and sort of take some shots, have a bit of banter, sort of enjoy the smell of aviation fuel again, as it screams over your head. It's better, is there really? So it was, like you say, it was cold.
Oh, mate,
just a little bit.
It was a bit cold for camping, but yeah, it was a quality couple of days, and the action more than made up for it, I think. And
I mean, considering we woke up in the morning and there was a blanket of frost and -4 degrees. In actual fact, the last morning we were there, we were driving to Lakenheath, obviously getting ready, and I was driving with one of our members, Mike, and I just turned to him and I said, have we gone back in time? And he just went, what do you mean? I said, well, are we now in mid-January again? And he just laughed. And I was like, I'm looking outside and everything is frozen. Yeah. I am in 7 layers, including a onesie. I have no shame to admit. I was like, are we back in January? This isn't mid-April. But apparently it was mid-April. And by the afternoon, luckily, the sun did come out.
It did feel like January, didn't it? And I mean, the 2 nights that we were camping, I ended up in my car both nights because it was just too cold to be outside. Yeah, which is it's the crazy things we do for aviation, isn't it? So
that's one thing I said, because obviously on night 1, especially when we were there, we had the fire pit going, but we were just waiting until 1:30 in the morning for a pair of Ospreys to return back to base, obviously back into Mildenhall. But it just got to the point I was standing there, I could barely hold my camera because it was that cold, and I was thinking, are we really doing this? And then obviously the Osprey comes over with its halos lit, and you go, I am really doing this. Yes, I am.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It all becomes sort of clearer, doesn't it? When that thing that you've been waiting for hours in the freezing cold finally arrives, and you think, actually, yeah, it's worth it.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, so obviously, just to clarify, we did 3 days at Lakenheath and Mildenhall. With, for me, one of the best parts was a little trip to Marham as well, which is only up the road, sort of 45 minutes. I'm a massive fan of the F-35. We managed to see a nice 4-ship. Obviously off they went, did their thing, came back as a 4-ship, a nice run and break directly overhead, and all did vertical landings. So that was a pretty epic way of finishing those days, I think.
Yeah, well, knowing how much you love the F-35, mate, that was definitely a good way to finish the trip for us.
Like a kid in a sweet shop.
Yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. I'm not upset in admitting that. It was outrageously good.
Yeah.
But yeah, have you got, obviously that aside, we won't bore everyone because obviously, so talking more about the co-op link, what do we think that means for us going forwards?
I just think it's for me, I think it's a great opportunity to sort of get the podcast to more listeners. I mean, like the sort of the network that Rich Cooper's built up, and the sort of people that want to be part of Co-op Online, they relate to what we talk about. Do you know what I mean? They're like-minded people. They love aviation. They love photography. That's what they're there for, and that's exactly what this podcast's about. We're as much about the photography as we are about the aviation. So for me, it's a really good sort of collaboration, and I'm sure it will help us as much as it helps Rich as well, because obviously he's not really got a podcast as such as part of his repertoire on Co-op TV. So hopefully it will bring him some new sets of eyes onto his venture, as much as it'll add some listeners to our roster. So that's great as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Right. Well, although we do state this on every episode, we must emphasize again that our opinions are entirely our own, and that does also go for any of our guests, either today or in the future. So now that's out of the way, it is time for our guests to join us on this flight. We're still not quite sure on the final destination, but we will see where it goes. So with us today is Royal Navy Merlin pilot and instructor, Chris Suckling. Hi, Chris. How are you, mate?
Hey, Andy. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
And also thank you for switching recording dates multiple times for us. We do appreciate the, because it's not easy with what everyone does, especially yourself.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I'm happy to help.
Nice one. Cheers. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into aviation firstly, and then how you got into photography, or whether it was the other way around.
Sure. So it was definitely the aviation to begin with. So growing up, my dad was in the Navy as well. So I basically spent all my kind of younger years around a Navy base, around aviation with him, sort of living here in Cornwall. He was down here at Caldrose as well. So I'd always kind of be popping into the squadron to see him, whether it was at a weekend or after school and that kind of stuff, going to air shows and that. So really, yeah, started out quite early. And that's kind of where it all kind of took off. And that's where sort of my, love of aircraft and flying and really kind of began, to where I am now. And obviously that, that led a massive part to me deciding that I wanted to join the Navy. I wanted to fly, and here I am. And the photography piece really, I definitely wouldn't call myself a photographer. I think that's far too generous. I'm fortunate that they've got incredible gadgets in GoPros and iPhones where you just point and click, and actually what you get is pretty good without really much effort. But certainly the last few years, really sort of getting into Instagram and that kind of stuff, and getting inspired and seeing what other people put out there has sort of pushed me really to kind of put a bit more content out there, a few more photos. I think for many years, it's certainly when I first started out flying, kind of photos and videos of flying and round was a bit frowned upon. And actually, the early days, it really wasn't, like GoPro it's been around for a while, but to start off with, wasn't that great. So the content wasn't really that interesting, but now all of a sudden it's taken off. And actually, I think it's like a pretty epic tool for giving people an insight into what we do, and allowing them, that chance to get in the cockpit and see what's happening. So yeah, that's where it all really kicked off for me.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. To be fair, we are massive fans of your work on Instagram. Obviously great images from the cockpit, as well as some of the stories that you show us. We're big fans of those. Your different way of navigating the southwest of England, which is one of your passions of cycling. Any plans of joining the Tour de France at all?
Yeah, well, I'm out of the country for a little bit soon, but I'm just sat here. I'm waiting for the call, so I'm ready.
Nice.
To be fair, like seeing you some of the distances you cover on your stories, like it makes my 5-mile cycle every week look like a small fry, to be honest. You literally cycle around the whole of Cornwall in about 3 hours, and I'm like, I could barely do around like my local area.
I'm not sure I've cycled 5 miles in my lifetime, to be fair.
We're blessed down here. Cornwall is a stunning place, and to be able to get out on a bike and take in all the sort of coastal areas and sort of really enjoy it. Yeah, it's really lucky. Really enjoy it.
Yeah. No, that's class. That is
beautiful
class.
Part of the world.
Yeah,
Very
definitely.
nice.
I've been down there a few times. I live in the neighbouring Devon. But I saw that reaction. But to be fair, I did do a lot of work in Cornwall last year, so I was, driving to and from. And like you say, it is a very pretty part of the country. So not the worst place to go for cycles, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's good.
Yeah. Right, so moving on, we thought the best way for us to get to know our guest, and obviously for the listeners to get to know Chris, we should play another one of our little games. So this week we're going to be doing another game of 20 questions. If anyone heard episode 3 with Robin or episode 5 with Patrick, you remember how this goes. for those of you that have not listened yet, here is a reminder of the rules. So we've got 20 questions to ask Chris, and we have to guess the aircraft. So we have no idea what it could be. We've got to figure it out. We've got to break it down bit by bit. Yes or no answers, and we will see how we get on. So if everyone's clear on the rules, feel free to play along at home or in the car. So I will start, then we'll go for Ant, and then we'll go for Matt. You happy with that?
Cool.
Yep.
Right, okay.
Importantly, has Chris got his aircraft in mind?
Yep, I've got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, been
he's
thinking long
ready.
and hard about this.
Right.
Okay, he has
changing your mind halfway through.
Yeah. Right, let's start on a nice easy one and say, is it a rotary winged aircraft?
It is, yes.
It is. All right.
Okay. Is it something that you currently fly?
No.
That would have been too easy.
Yeah, it would.
Is it currently in use with the Royal Navy?
No, it's not.
It's not.
Okay. Have the Royal Navy flown it in the past?
No, they haven't.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay. Is it an army helicopter?
No.
Okay.
Is it a Royal Air Force helicopter?
No, it's not.
No.
Is it a helicopter that the United States use?
No, they don't.
Oh God!
Oh dear!
Oh God!
Now we're struggling.
No.
Okay, so let me just recap.
Yeah.
It's rotary. It's not something that you currently fly. It's not Royal Navy. It's not former Royal Navy. It's not Army. It's not RAF, and it's not US Air Force.
Or just US in general?
Okay, sorry,
What?
US in general. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, my bad. Okay, so is it a civilian helicopter?
No.
Okay.
Oh, my head hurts already.
Yeah, I know.
You can tell how much us three know about helicopters, don't you?
Yeah. I live in an airplane, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
You just put a big spotlight about how much we know. That's all. It's fine.
Yeah, my knowledge on helicopters is not great.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll get there.
I'm stumped already, to be honest.
It's all right, mate. If you're stuck, then we can we'll just start firing questions out. We're already on number 9, by the way, so we're struggling at the moment.
I've got loads,
Yeah.
that's right.
It's all right for you. You know what it is. Right.
I might go for a random one and just say, is it in use with the Luftwaffe, German Air Force?
Oh, no, I don't think it is.
No. Okay.
Actually, is it a helicopter that still flies today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 10.
The savage thing is I've only got one helicopter in mind that it could be, and if it isn't, that's me done.
Say,
Do you want a clue?
Let's.
he's got us good on this one.
He has. Let's just try and think outside the box a second. So, oh no, screw it. We'll have the crew. We'll have the clue.
Right, so it has been described as a flying tank.
I don't want to use my only guess. That's the problem.
Well, ask a question that will sort of narrow
And
it down to that.
the main
guess.
user of it is quite fond of vodka.
Right. Okay.
Right,
So it's a
okay.
Russian helicopter.
There you go.
I love that.
That still doesn't help.
But what it does do is it does blow my guess out of the way.
Oh, I can't remember the name. If Martin was on here, he would have got this like
You would
weeks
have got
ago.
this already.
Or Ben.
Or Ben, yeah, he would have got it weeks ago. So
They're going to be listening back to this going, I know what it is.
They'll be shouting at the screen.
They will, yeah.
I'd imagine a lot of people are, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
think I know what helicopter it could be, but I can't remember the name of it.
I've got an idea. I know the nickname of it, but I don't really know its proper name.
Nickname works.
Maybe with the nickname.
I think the one I'm thinking of is the Hind. I think it's called the Hind.
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Hind.
Oh, Matt's got it.
There we go. Yeah, Mi-24. So the Russian helicopter gunship. So it's kind of like Apache, but on steroids. I mean, the thing.
That was the one I was thinking of.
That was my only guess.
That was the one I was thinking of. I just couldn't think of the name Hind.
Yeah, it's got the little bubble cockpits at the front.
I was doubting myself with the Mi-24. I'm like, is it the Mi-24? I'm just going to go with Hind instead.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. I think technically speaking, in a way, we might have got that. Or am I being generous?
Yeah. No,
I reckon you just got it. Yeah.
Yeah. We probably used about 6 questions having the clue, to be honest. So
it's fine.
We wouldn't have got there otherwise, because we were all thinking, no, he's not going to pick anything Russian. It's not going to happen. We're like, yeah, we'll go through every country in the world, and he's not going to pick Russian.
Like I say, the funny thing for me was basically the only helicopter I had in my head. Other than that, was the NH90, but
yeah,
that was it. That was all I could think of. But there goes that. But yeah, all right. Well, in a way, well done, chaps. And for those of you listening, you can stop screaming at us now.
That's it. We'll go and have a helicopter encyclopedia for breakfast.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
So, Chris, why did you choose that as your favorite airframe then?
So it's just something different. So I'd love to have a go and fly in it. And we have a thing called Tiger Meet on a lot of squadrons. So any squadron that has Tiger badge, Tiger affiliation, obviously sort of pre-COVID would get together once a year, have a big air show. And obviously sort of the Czechs and the Russians and use this aircraft they'd come across, and you do get the opportunity to fly other people's aircraft. And I've heard stories of guys going for a flight in it, and you just look at it and you think, wow. I mean, it is a flying tank. The Russians just build these massive, bomb-proof helicopters that just work, and it just looks cool. To go fly that thing, use the cannon, let off a few rockets. I think it'd be great.
To be fair, it does look menacing, doesn't it? I mean, I know the Apache looks menacing, but it's slightly on a, like you say, on a steroid level menacing. Yeah. It's you wouldn't want one of them chasing you, definitely not.
So did you have any other sort of favorite airframes or even air shows growing up?
Yeah, definitely when I was younger, I was obsessed with Tomcats.
Yes.
As cheesy it is, it's Top Gun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Watching Top Gun as a kid and seeing that. So F-14 for me was like the aeroplane. So I was obsessed. And sort of air shows, I'm really lucky. So obviously I went to Caldrose Air Day quite a bit when I was younger. They do it a little differently to most other air shows. So whereas like Yeovilton and places like that, it's a really big event and they get someone in to deliver it. Whereas Caldrose is always a little bit smaller and it's more focused around the local community and families and that kind of stuff and getting them in. So it wasn't anything massive and you never really sort of had the big headlines. And I was lucky enough when I was younger to live over in the States for a bit. So I actually went to Miramar and I went to an air show there. I got to see the Tomcat flying and everything like that. So for me, it was dream come true. That was incredible. So really, really cool.
That is amazing. You imagine seeing a Tomcat at Miramar.
I've never even seen a Tomcat on static.
No, I haven't.
On the bucket list, I'd love to see. Because the thing is, you're in good company with that as your answer, mate. Because I think that's where we all started. Was, Top Gun and the F-14. I think a lot of us still haven't even grown out of that, really.
Yeah, no, I haven't. Yeah, definitely. I'm just waiting for Top Gun 2 to finally come out.
It'll be here soon enough.
Soon
enough. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
Matt, you had a question for Chris as well?
Do you take any inspiration for your photography?
I do. Yeah. Well, obviously, Instagram I think it's brilliant. You get so much. I say it's brilliant. It's good and it's bad, isn't it? I think it's pretty good because it connects you with people that you wouldn't necessarily normally get to meet and talk to. So you see a lot of good content out there, and you can't help but sort of take inspiration, almost sort of pinch people's ideas or try and sort of develop them as your own. So really that was it. A lot, I don't mind, there's this guy called Tom, that helicopter guy. He's on Instagram. He's a Norwegian utility pilot, and he's a photographer as well. So if you look at his photos and stuff from his sort of flying around, not only has he got Norway, which is a pretty epic location, he's got that sort of skill as well to get it in the cockpit and take the photo. So I sort of see his and just think, wow, I wish I could do that. So I try to, where I can, sort of showcase Cornwall and the bits and pieces that we've got and the aircraft where I can. But yeah, it's taken a bit of everything, we've all been there, haven't we? We come back and we get onto Instagram, and before you know it, you're 5 hours later or something.
Yeah, right.
You're still going, but
yeah,
you just sort of link from one profile to another, and then you click on a photo, click on that tag, find a new account, start following them. And yeah, I think it's great. So that's really where most of it comes from.
Awesome stuff.
So that obviously you said about that you pretty much use GoPros and iPhones or phone, whatever. So that's obviously your primary thing. I mean, like one of the things that we're trying to sort of do with AvGeeks Assemble is just say that that's okay. Do you know what I mean? If you've got a camera in your pocket, then that's the best camera you'll ever have, because it's in your pocket, it's with you, and you can get them shots. And the sort of shots that you get from the cockpit, like that showcase like Cornwall and the coastline and sort of the environments in which you're working in day to day, they're inspirational to us. Do you know what I mean? And we might have I don't know, an entry level £500 DSLR, or somebody might have a £5,000 like pro setup, but you're inspiring us at the same time as we're inspiring you, if you know what I mean. So it just goes to show for me that it's not about what equipment you've got and how much it costs. It's about what you're doing with that equipment and how you're sharing that. And I think that's one of the things I love about your Instagram, is that I get to see what a Royal Navy Merlin pilot's doing on his day to day, and see the sort of views that he gets to see, especially when you're down around like the Isles in the Channel Islands and things like that. It's just amazing pictures from there. So it's really good.
Yeah. Cheers, Ant. Thanks very much. And I'm glad it was.
I mean, mate. It's really nice to see, and it's good to have that other perspective.
And that's the great thing is, because I look at all your accounts and everybody else's, and to see that kind of sort of professional level of photo aspects that we often don't get to see, do we? Because if we're flying, we're not going to see that. And to see how you capture that image and frame it and all that kind of stuff. And then I was listening to the last pod when you're chatting to Pat about all the different ways that you edit, all the different colors, and it blew my mind straight away. I was lost, but the passion and the dedication and the time that yourselves and all the other sort of aviation photographers put into it, I mean, it's huge, isn't it? So you see that photo and you look at it for a few seconds, but you don't possibly appreciate the maybe hours of work and preparation that goes to get that image. So
it's funny because obviously, like I say, because we had Patrick speaking to us about all of that, and like the depth that he goes into, is pretty high. You can tell as well. But like we were saying, we've got, because we spoke to Panic, who literally takes pictures on his iPhone. We spoke to Carly previously, who, she's saying she likes putting almost her mood or what she's doing that day into the photo that she uploads. So it's quite nice to see the different ways that people do things. Because a lot of yours, you're showcasing your love of flying, you're showcasing your love of Cornwall, of cycling. And it's nice because you can tell that as well. You can see it. Like sometimes a picture doesn't have to be edited to see what it means to someone, which I think we see with your stuff.
Yeah, and that's exactly sort of what I'm trying to put across, is just, this is what I enjoy, and thankfully there's a few people out there that enjoy it as well. I do make, I try and keep kind of like the photos on the page very specific, I guess, to sort of flying, and I try and mix things up with the stories of, you know, it might be the cycling or just walking or anything else that I get up to, really.
Yeah.
Which people might be interested or not, possibly.
Yeah.
But that's it. I mean, like, and that it's you've got to differentiate between different types of accounts. I mean, like, so yours is very much, I would say, a personal account. So yes, you're sharing images from what you're doing as your day job, but you're also sharing images from your weekends off and obviously the time with the missus and like being out and about doing your cycling and things like that. So, but then other people like Brand, they're like Andrew, for example, Afterburner Aviation. He's just solidly focused on his aviation photography, and but there's nothing wrong with that. And like we all follow different accounts like that, and they're equally as sort of inspirational, to be honest, I think.
Yeah.
So no, it's good to see.
Yeah, I agree. On the cycling side of things, Chris, how long have you sort of been into that?
So probably about 3 years now.
Okay.
I mean, I bought a bike about 10 years ago. I got really bored of running. And I just wanted to
Don't let Carly hear you say that.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to do something different. So I bought a bike, went out, you know, classic, all the gear, no idea. And I did a couple of rides. I got a couple of punctures, and I just gave up. And that was it. I just sort of left it. And like most good stories, you know, on a night out at work, a bunch of guys that I worked with. So I was working up at RAF Shawbury, where we train our helicopter pilots. And a couple of the guys in the squadron had planned to go across to Belgium and France, and they were going to do this ride called the Paris-Roubaix. So a big pro ride. Obviously, they start in Paris, finish in Roubaix, but the key thing to it for them is it's through cobbled streets. So like most kind of pro rides, amateurs generally sort of get the opportunity to ride some of the route the day before the pros come through on the race. So there was I think it was a 108-mile ride, and about 30 or 40 miles of it is across cobble. And I'd heard the guys talking about it. They've been training for months, and I just thought they were mad, just not interested one bit. And there was a week to go. We'd had a big works night out, and I've still got the email somewhere, because at 4 minutes past 3 in the morning, I got my confirmation email from the race organizer saying, yeah, your place is confirmed. A guy had dropped out through injury, and yeah, they managed to convince me over many beers that, yeah, I should go and do this ride. That's where it started. You know, I had a week to go, no training, hadn't been on a bike for years, and I tipped up with the rest of them, and off we went and did the Paris-Roubaix challenge.
That sounds like a baptism of fire, that does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it seemed like a really great idea at the time. And I sort of had 5 or 6 days to contemplate what a massive error I'd made. And luckily, you know, out of all the guys that went, there was a sort of a good little 3 or 4 of us who potentially weren't the best cyclists. So we just sort of helped each other. We grizzed it out, and yeah, we got through to the end, thankfully. So yeah, it was brilliant. It was a great day, and I just sort of stuck with some of those guys, and they managed to sort of convince me to keep going.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, I really like cake. So
join the club.
Yeah, right.
I go out and do all these ridiculous rides just so that I can stop at different cafes, have a coffee, a bit of a cake, and yeah, just kind of really got into it now. So yeah.
Mate, if that's what cycling's about, I might have to take it up myself.
You know, I try not to go out unless I've got to stop somewhere for something.
Nice.
The height of lockdown was great and awful. So it was great because the roads were really quiet. So that was nice. You know, you could go out, not see anybody or another car or anything. But all the cafes were shut. So you couldn't get your ice cream or your cake or your coffee.
Oh no.
So, yeah. I can't complain too much.
I saved a lot of money during that first lockdown.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think we all did.
That's it.
Sorry, Matt, were you about to say something, mate?
That's all right. So good.
No, all right. Yeah, no, that's class. Yeah, I mean, have you done that challenge again since that first attempt?
No, so we kind of thought about maybe this year we might get to go again, but obviously that hasn't worked out. So maybe next year. There's another ride, Flanders, which is it's an old classic, slightly longer, a bit hillier, and there's some cobbles in that. So maybe look at that next year or something. But yeah, definitely, if I can get a sort of group of us together, I'd be keen to go and do it again, now that I kind of know what I'm doing. So yeah,
know what to expect now.
well, yeah, but maybe not knowing what to expect was the best way of approaching
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, ideal. No, that's cool. No, it's ideal because, like I say, it's nice to see the differences in what people do outside of either photography or aviation. And it is interesting for us to see what, you know, your life is like away from the lens, I guess.
Good.
Yeah.
That's not too boring.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, a question from me, as if I need to ask anymore. Obviously, with these air shows and stuff, have you ever displayed at any of them before, or have you ever done anything like that?
Well, yeah, I had a pretty mega part at the Cosford Air Show a few years ago.
Nice.
No, we did a display from Shawbury, and I won't even really call it a display.
Yeah.
I was in one of they call them the Juno and the Jupiter, so the 135 and the 145 as a pair. We just flew in, did a couple of passes, came to the hover, did some spot turns, and the whole idea was there. I was then to pick up Red 10, the commentator for the Red Arrows, and take him back to Shawbury. So we kind of did a taxi service, but managed to blag it as a bit of an
That's quality.
Nice.
But the Reds had just finished. So I remember we got back to Shawbury, they all turned up. And I remember Red 1 coming in, and I just sort of said, oh, wow, that was, you know, what an audience, what a reception. I can't remember, thousands and thousands of people, glorious day. And he went, yeah, it felt good. And I went, well, obviously they were all there to see me, not you guys. He just looked at me like, wow.
Brilliant.
It's a joke, mate, like, come on. So,
oh, that's good. So one of the questions I had was obviously recently we saw from your Instagram that you'd celebrated reaching 3,000 hours as a Navy pilot. So firstly, congratulations for that. So just to give sort of people in the real world sort of a bit of a more realistic understanding of what that means and what sort of an achievement that is. How sort of long did it take you to amass that many hours, and sort of like, does that include your training hours, or you just sort of elaborate a bit?
So yeah, it includes all my hours through day one to where I am now. I've had my wings now for just coming up to 11 years. So at the time I hit 3,000, was about 10 years since I'd got my wings. And you generally, for most helicopter pilots, you get to your wing stage with about, 250, gusting 300 hours. So yeah, so around about 2,700 hours in that sort of 10-year period.
Nice.
Which is pretty good going. I think it's probably slightly above average. I've been lucky that I haven't done any jobs outside of the cockpit yet.
Yeah.
Whereas lots of other guys will take a break and, might go and look and do sort of career courses and that kind of thing. So they'll have a 2 or 3 year, maybe longer period where they're not flying. So yeah, it was great. I was glad to get it, big milestone. We got some guys, less so now, but 7,000-8,000 hour pilots.
Wow.
You just got to look at some of the instructors at Shawbury, because although they might have had 20-something year military careers, they're still there as civilian instructors, delivering training to military, and they're 15,000 hours, some of them. Wow. It's just phenomenal.
That's a lot of experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I suppose that's what you want from an instructor, isn't it? You want that experience there next year. So
yeah, you can't buy it. It's priceless. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Have you got a sort of milestone you want to reach before you retire or anything? Or because obviously I'm sure you've got a few years yet, but have you got like a milestone in mind?
No, nothing in particular. I'm just I'm happy doing what I do, and I don't really set out to do anything. It'd be great, tick off 4,000 at some point, 5,006. It all just depends on how long I decide to do, or how the kind of latter part of my career sort of pans out. But, you know, everybody will tell you that I work with, you know, just the more hours, the better, you know. Anything that keeps me away from that desk or any kind of admin, paperwork or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. Sky pig, definitely.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Fair play.
No, I would rather be in the cockpit than be behind a desk, definitely.
Yeah, right.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah,
Right,
definitely.
we've also got some questions from the community as well, because obviously we announced before this that you were our next guest. So obviously we've had a few people reach out to ask us some questions. We've just gone through a few. We've chosen sort of 2 or 3 questions. So the first one is from Joe Boyer Photos on Instagram. And he asked, out of all of the helicopter types that you've flown, which is your favorite and why? Okay,
cool. Well, thanks, Joe. So I think probably the Juno, so the 135. I got to spend a few years up at Shawbury as an instructor, and I was flying the Squirrel to begin with, the AS350, and we've been flying that for about 20 years, and that was brilliant. It's one of the sort of jobs I'd always wanted to do since I started flying. And I was coming to the end of my time, about to come back to the Merlin, and then they just offered me the chance to extend for a couple of years and help bring this new aircraft into service and start teaching on it. So I thought, yeah, why not? And it's phenomenal. You know, it's a really modern aircraft, which for us in the military is a surprise anyway. We don't often get, you know, the very best bits of kit, but we're good at making do with what we've got. But this, you know, at the time it was up there. You know? The cockpit was great. It had all the toys, everything and more that you could want really as a pilot flying around. But it was fun. It's a little helicopter. It's quick. It's got loads of power. You can just throw it around, you know, like a sort of sports car in the sky.
Nice.
And, you know, I got to go and fly all around kind of Shropshire, Snowdonia, Wales, you know, all those kinds of places, which are just phenomenal.
I can actually vouch for it being a sports car in the sky, because I was actually in the Ogwen Valley in Snowdonia one day, and I was climbing up a mountain called Penner Olwen, which has got like a little sort of a little cut out in the side with a lake, and out of nowhere this Juno just come hurtling through the gap and just literally did like what I can only describe as a tail slide around this lake. So it's like and then again past me, and I was just like, what just happened? It was gone again. It was over the other side of the valley then. And I was just like, that was amazing. Like, I'd never seen anything like it from a helicopter. It was just amazing. Yeah, absolutely. But it's probably you.
Could have been. You never know.
Yeah, it was a few years ago now, but it was. It was. I can definitely see what you mean about it being a sports car of the sky. Definitely.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And, you know, like, don't get me wrong, you know, Merlin, great aircraft. I love flying it. But just have something that's a little bit smaller. You know, we don't have to worry about taking an engineering team with us or anything like that. And, you know, the size, when you think about downwash and it really limits where you can go in a Merlin because of the size of it and the support that it needs. Whereas the Juno, everybody uses it, don't they? The police, their air ambulance, all that kind of stuff. So pretty much every kind of landing site area that you can think of is now inbound to you and available if you want it.
Oh, that's class. Yeah, nice one. Matt, you're a big fan of the Juno, aren't you? You've visited Shawbury a couple of times.
I do like the Juno. Yeah, I've been to Shawbury a few times, and I definitely see what Ant said earlier. Well, what we said earlier with the sports car thing. I've seen it being thrown around at Shawbury quite a few times. I do generally like spotting at Shawbury just to see the Juno. It's just cool.
Yeah. It's busy as well because, you know...
Yeah, it's really busy, yeah. You look around everywhere.
29 of them, give or take, roughly. And you know what? There's probably, on a busy day, upwards of 20, 25 of them flying all around at any one time. Plus, you know, throw a few Jupiters in there as well. You know, the LFA is just busy. it's great.
Yeah.
If you know all the little locations for all the confined areas and places to go, then yeah, you're just inundated with aircraft all day long.
Yeah, Shawbury's definitely one of my most favourite bases to spot at, just for how busy it is, and just taking shots of
Cool.
good.
So another question we've got is from our editor Mike, who is a massive Merlin fan. He's got a question for you. So he has asked, do you get to choose between becoming a commando helicopter force pilot or a maritime pilot? If so, what made you choose the maritime route? And if not, how are those decisions made around which pilots are given which roles?
Cool. That's a good question. You do kind of get a little bit of a choice, but it's not a big one. So what it all kind of boils down to is what the Navy want. Where do they need pilots? What airframes are available? What course is the next course that has space on it? So generally, when you finish your time up at Shawbury, you do your final handling test, the boss will ask you to submit a kind of top 3 to him. And all the guys on the course will do the same. And then the boss with his training team and course managers, they'll all kind of sit together and they'll try and take into consideration what you'd like, and they'll weigh that up with what the Navy wants. And then, all being well, great, you get the aircraft type you want. If not, then you go somewhere else. So definitely, there was 3 of us on course at the time. We didn't really know what was available. So at the time, we still obviously had Seeking, we had Lynx, we still had SAR Seeking as well. So I'd actually put search and rescue at one point as my top pick.
Yeah.
And the boss had talked to me about that kind of in the lead up towards the end of the course. And he said, well, it's not available now. They've had to put a guy had been chopped up at Valley. He was coming back rotary, bit older, been in the pipeline. He needed to go through, so they were going to send him there. And then he said, well, you can have anything else. So I was like, oh, okay, don't really know what I want. Before we even got to the list, the boss called us all into the office and said, look, guys, you've all done really well on course. And look, you could fly any of the aircraft type that we've got if we had them available. And he just went, look, I've got 1 Commando Seeking, it was at the time, and I've got 2 Merlin Mark 1 as it was available. And he just went, by tomorrow morning, between the 3 of you, come back, tell me what you want. So we went to the bar, we did what any other Matlows would do. We had a few beers, we played a game of spoof, and the winner of spoof got to pick his aircraft. So he picked the Seeking, which left us guys with the Merlin. And you know what? Brilliant.
Yeah.
I think lots of people get really kind of upset that they don't get what they want, and they hear all these stories of this is better, that's better. But you know what? I've been doing it a little while now, and I've talked to lots of different people, and we'll all still have our banter, and we'll all still think that ours is better or so-and-so's is worse or whatever it is. But, it's still great to go and fly a helicopter and do it. So, yeah. And even better, I think when I was younger, I didn't really appreciate what I had in terms of living in Cornwall and being down here.
Yeah.
For a lot of my teen years, I was like, oh, I hate Cornwall, I want to get out. And when I originally decided to join the Navy, I thought, this is it. This is my ticket away from Cornwall. I'm never coming back. And then obviously I get the aircraft that's based at Culdrose in Cornwall, and where, all being well, I'll probably spend the rest of my career. So yeah, it's brilliant.
So on top of that, would you, obviously I know that you said there was 1 for the Seeking and 2 for the Merlin. Were you going to go for the Seeking?
Well, no. So I think my original, I wanted to go do the search and rescue bit, because it's pretty cool, isn't it? Search and rescue, saving people. I wasn't really a fan of the Lynx, didn't really interest me at all. So then really, it was probably a toss up between Seeking the Commando or the Merlin, and I hadn't really decided.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And obviously it kind of got taken out of our hands.
Yeah,
which is fine. But I've done the reverse of that now. So I've sat there as an instructor with my students' kind of wish list, and sort of sat at these kind of boards that we have. And there are certain skill sets that are better suited to a different aircraft. And you do kind of try and like fight the corner for your student and say, well, come on, right, this is what he really wants. And it might be for family location, or, this is what he's always wanted to do. But it is interesting to try and get people what they want and understand the bigger picture.
Yeah. Oh, ideal. No, that's cool. That's quite a nice insight, actually, because I'd never actually knew it was like that, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers.
That's all right, no problem.
Definitely. We've got another question from the community from at George_Aviation, and he simply asks, "What's the favourite part about your job?"
Yeah, it's got to be flying.
That's it.
Every time I get into that aircraft and take off, it's a privilege. I love it, and it could be something really exciting, or it could be something really mundane. Go and do some kind of post maintenance check flight or something like that. But I don't ever take it for granted. That I get to go and fly. It's what I wanted to do, and it's what I continue to do. It's great. It's great fun.
Yeah, good answer. And to be fair, not a surprising one either.
No, definitely. Totally agree.
I don't enjoy all the paperwork before it and after it and everything else that
goes. So Joe actually had 2 questions for you before we move on. And this one, to be fair, is quite an in-depth one as well. So I tell you what, we're hitting you with some in-depth questions, mate.
Go for it.
Yeah.
So he's asked again, how does it feel to be taking a brand new airborne early warning system into service and going on the HMS QE's maiden deployment?
Nice. So remember I said there's a bit of banter and rivalry between aircraft types. So we've now got Merlin, ASAC, Airborne Surveillance and Control, Crow's Nest, some people will know it as, or bagging. Baggers definitely was one of those aircraft that you probably went, oh, nah, I'm not doing that. They're weird people. They look like those. I think they all had, if they had children, they all had boys, which they thought might be to do with the radiation from the radar. So we kind of thought when the Sea King went out of service, great, it's gone. And then all of a sudden they put a bag on a Merlin, and it was probably about a year, coming up to a year ago. They were looking for an instructor to go to the factory, to be taught by the test pilots how to fly it and come back and teach everybody else how to fly it. And yeah, it was me. So it's like my dirty little secret that you won't see anything on Instagram yet at the minute. But yeah, I'm the bag instructor on 820 Squadron. So
nice.
I've been spent the last 9 months flying it. I've just been teaching the first, we call them ab initio, but the first Merlin Mark II pilots to fly it. We've got the first 3 guys up and running this week, or last week, sorry. And then, so now the plan is take the aircraft on board. We're deploying pretty soon as part of the Carrier Strike Group. There's lots of stuff out there online, lots of media attention around it. Nothing's particularly secret or sensitive, but we've got a big trip coming out, lots of different events planned, but in terms of the new airframe, it'd be interesting, get it out there. Everything that comes in has teething issues, but you don't know that until you get out there and you start operating it and using it, and you understand what does or doesn't work, or what could work better. So that would be interesting. And, to be the first ones to do it, again, adds a little bit to it. So, it should be good fun, I think, definitely.
No, that's class. That's really cool.
Just following on from Joe's question there, obviously, just talking about the deployment and stuff. I mean, assuming, obviously, because we've not had any carriers for so long, this is probably going to be your first carrier deployment, I would imagine. Yeah,
it is for me. So everything I've done up until now pretty much has been small ships. So I was a frigate pilot in everything that I've done so far in the Merlin. I've landed on some carriers. I think I landed on Ark Royal when we had it before she went, just the once. American carriers, some bigger ships that we've got. But I've never been away and embarked and deployed in one. So
this has got to be like really sort of like top level exciting for you, and sort of like, because if it was me, I'd be like a kid in a sweet shop. I'd just be like,
Yeah, I think it's great. You know, you join the Navy because you do want to go away, and I think going to sea is brilliant. And going off on a trip and going to all the different little places that you go, and sometimes it's places that you probably wouldn't go to yourself, but you still have a great time. And yeah, you know, I know QE's been across to the States a couple of times and they've done some trials and stuff, but you know, the first, as they're advertising it, the first operational deployment, you know, a massive task force, all the jets, all the frigates, destroyers, escorts, loads of aircraft. Yeah, it should be a real interesting, real eye opener. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
well, we're looking forward to your Instagram and your Instagram stories, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's it. And you have to. It's probably going to be quiet for a little bit until we sort of get somewhere and there's a bit of Wi-Fi or whatever. Yeah, certainly. You know, QE, we're going to be on there. We've got obviously our ASAC aircraft. We've got the ASW normal Merlin Mark IIs, and obviously all the F-35s. You know, 617 and the US Marine Corps on there as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait to see the images from that. That's going to be be amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
But I bought a new GoPro as well. So
nice.
Just for this trip as well, because I figured there's going to be a lot of good stuff to try and capture. So
that's it. New toys with lots of memory cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, looking forward to seeing the content you get there. That's going to be class.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, mate. So you're going on from that. What does the future hold for you with the Royal Navy?
Yeah, well, that's the kind of immediate thing, and that will keep me busy for really the rest of the year.
Okay.
And then we'll see. Jobs wise, you normally sort of 2 to 3 years is a pretty normal cycle, and you'll move jobs, and that could be normally moving to a different squadron. I've been lucky that I did Merlin for 5 or 6 years. I went and became an instructor, managed to stay up at Shawbury for 4 years teaching up there, and I've come back now. And obviously you then, with a bit more experience, it might be promotion, that kind of stuff. So it opens up other jobs within squadrons in terms of your experience or your supervision, and you can go and do those. They will, the Navy that is, at some point try and push me into a desk job somewhere, and they call it broadening, and try and give you a bigger perspective of what the Navy do. And some people really enjoy it. And certainly if you want to promote and you want to be the boss of a squadron, or maybe you really push on in your naval career, then you've got to go and do that stuff. I'm undecided at the minute. I want to fly. I'm just happy to what they call do the circuit, which is just sort of bounce from squadron to squadron. And it's probably squadrons I've been to before, and it'll be jobs that I've done before, but it'll keep me flying, which is the main thing. So we'll see. And I'm lucky I've got a fair few years left to me if I want it, in terms of what the Navy have offered me, and I'll keep doing it. And I've always said from day one, I'll do it until I stop enjoying it, and then maybe I'll look for something else.
It doesn't look like you're going to stop enjoying it anytime soon, though.
No, absolutely.
I think in all forms of jobs, like in different walks of life, like there are the people that want to climb the ladder and sort of get that promotion and move up the chain and whatnot, and then there's people who are happy doing what they're doing, and that they've found the job that they enjoy doing, and there's nothing wrong with that, is there? And to be honest, I'm with you. Like if I was flying helicopters every day, I'd want to be staying in the cockpit rather than behind a desk. So fair play.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to enjoy the time, don't you? And
that's it.
The downside for us is the more you promote and the more that you do climb that ladder, the further away from certainly the cockpit it takes you. Once you've been a boss, that really is, that's your flying career over, and off you go. And you might still obviously be working within the aviation environment, but it's sort of more, it will almost certainly behind a desk sort of policy and admin management.
It's funny because like you can see a similar scenario even in other jobs, like for instance, like I've said before, I'm an electrician, I work on the tools, I do different things, and you get those that are just happy to get in their van, get their tools out of the van, do their job, go home. You know, they're happy to do that day in, day out, and they're happy. But there are those, again, nothing wrong with it, that do that, but are waiting for that opportunity to maybe get off of the tools, go and do some stuff in an office and things like that. And it just depends what you want, I guess, and what the opportunities that arise.
Yeah, and fair play to them, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it's real simple, isn't it? Just do what you enjoy doing.
That's a strong message, and one that we do try and promote as well. You know, do what you enjoy, do what makes you happy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that aside, I think questions from us, we're all done. So with that being said, Chris, have you got any questions for us at all?
Yeah, go on then. So quite fitting actually. So you had your first little trip out, taste of going somewhere and taking photos, but
yeah,
I wanted to know if there is a particular location, wherever it is, that you guys maybe haven't been to yet, that is on your kind of like bucket list of, I want to go here and I want to take photos of aircraft here because.
Right, I'll start.
Well, here we go. The list is long.
No, it won't be long because me and one of the other members of the group, Ben, we had actually arranged a trip for the end of May this year. Obviously, it's not happening now because of the obvious, but we wanted to go to Germany, and we wanted to visit the air bases in Germany, so Ramstein, Buchel, and then go up to Vogel as well, and maybe do Spangdahlem as well. And we're trying to get some German Tonkers, because unfortunately for me, I sort of joined the aviation photography, or I got the aviation photography bug just as our Tornadoes decided to retire. So I've got a lot of memories of Tornadoes, but not a lot of photos of Tornadoes, unfortunately. So I'm trying to replicate that with hang on a sec. Good night. It's in the morning. Right, we'll start again. So obviously trying to sort of replace those memories with some actual photos, and unfortunately Germany's the nearest place that's got Tornadoes that are still in active service. So we did want to do that. Unfortunately, COVID has meant that we're not doing that, because unfortunately we haven't got £5,000 lying around to sort of pay to go out of the country. So so what we're doing instead, we've replaced that with a trip around the Lake District and the Mac Loop. So hopefully we'll get some nice low level stuff instead. So there's always a plan B with aviation. That's always that's always something that we do. So, but that was one of the things I wanted to do.
You do get that Germany trip at some point though. That'd be
yeah. I mean, they are supposed to be in service with Germany another couple of years, and no doubt they'll probably come over here for one of the exercises before they do retire. So if we catch them over here, great. But obviously, it'd be nice to catch them in their own environment, sort of thing, and go and visit some new bases. So
definitely.
Obviously, and before myself and Matt answer that question as well, obviously one of the ones Chris said on top of that is anywhere that you'd recommend, or like the number one place. I can assume I know what your answer is, but what is your answer?
Like
as in favourite place for spotting? Yeah.
Oh, my favourite place for spotting.
Yeah, because it was obviously a collective question, but
it's got to be the Mac Loop for me.
I knew it.
Yeah. I just low level, seeing jets in the wild or props or helicopters in the wild is just there's nothing that matches it. I can stand at a fence for weeks on end, and I'll love every second of it, but that buzz of anticipation of waiting for those jets to come around that brow of that hill is just, there's nothing like it. And when they do show up, it's amazing.
Photos up there look brilliant. I was lucky. I flew through the Mac Loop once in a Juno, which is less, obviously it's less exciting than a Typhoon or whatever, an F-35 coming ripping through there. But it was cool because I'd not been in there before, and I'd just seen photos, and we did a couple of laps. But just to see hundreds of people camped out, all different levels, and then we got back and we had a look online. There was loads of great photos and stuff, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Just really cool. And then unfortunately there was that typhoon that did that pull out. We've all seen the video.
We have,
we kind of collectively, I say we as the Air Force, because I was in an Air Force aircraft, that was it, we got banned. So we weren't allowed to go back.
Yeah.
Such a shame.
So I had my first trip through the Mac Loop, and then about 2 days later, it was like, oh, all our aircraft are banned. And everyone looked at me like, what did you do? I was like, it wasn't me.
You did a tailspin through there.
Yeah.
Around in the
to be fair, I'd love to see a Juno do a close pass to Cad West and then do triple barrel roll as it climbs out. That'd be amazing.
Give it a go.
Always worth a go.
That sounds like a plan.
Matt, before I answer, what's your answer to those questions?
To be fair, this is going to sound pretty daft, but for me, I want to go down to Culdrose and Yeovilton just because I like helicopters. I like the Merlin. I like the Wildcat and the stuff that are based over at Culdrose and Yeovilton. And I've never been there, so I really want to give that a try and see what we can do. But yeah, I've just always wanted to get decent photos of a Merlin just because I think they're really cool. That's pretty much that one for me, to be honest. Just really want to go down there and see what it's like down there and things like that. So yeah, that's it for me.
And favourite place you've been spotting?
Oh, to be fair, this is awesome. This might come as a surprise, but for me, it's Valley, RF Valley. I love Valley just because it's really busy, and that's as a photographer, it's what you want. You want it to be busy. You want to be taking shots most of the time. Unfortunately, I had to leave early because my battery died at just 2 p.m. And the action was over, so I had to leave really early. But still, I took over like 2,000 shots up until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But yeah, Valley is just, for me, it's just a really awesome place to spot. I love the Hawks. I love the little Texans. It's just, yeah, love it.
And as well, on top of that, Matt, it's a beautiful part of the world as well. I mean,
definitely. Some of the backdrop you can probably see on my Instagram. Some of the backdrops you get at Valley are pretty awesome.
Yep, got the Snowdonian Mountains in the background.
Hell yeah, that's what you want.
What about you, Andrew? Come on, let's have a look. What have you got?
So obviously the list of favourite places I've been spotting is short because I've only been to one so far. But in all fairness, like I say, absolutely epic. Obviously, I was Lakenheath, Mildenhall and Marham. Just the thing is, I say this, we did get there a little bit late. I say a little bit late. We parked in the spotters car park. And just before we could get to the forest entrance to start taking pictures, 2 launched before we had our cameras out. The thing is, I wasn't that disappointed because that was my first jet takeoff in 2 years. So I just watched this thing go over and listened to it, and it was like I got that fix. I'm sorry, but I don't know if that's an insensitive way to put it, but I just watched and listened and was just like, I've missed that so much. And then luckily we got to the spotters car park, got our cameras out, and I think 4 more launched, the first of which was the Heritage jet. And I think either the second or third was the Boss Bird. So I got very, very lucky in that instance. So that was good. As for the list of where I want to go, the list is long. I've only done the one. I'd love to do the Mac Loop. I'd love to do Coningsby because I'm a big fan of the Typhoons as well. I am very, very biased towards fast jets. I'm not going to lie to you. The good thing for me is that when I said I've worked in Cornwall a few times, I did manage to catch a couple of Merlins around Culdrose. It was at the sort of time I was meant to be signing off work and driving home. But then when I checked my radar and there was a Merlin in the area, I had my camera on me. So obviously I had to go and see what I could get. But yeah, I mean, again, this isn't just saying it because you're here, Chris, but I am a big fan of the Merlin. It is an epic looking and sounding chopper. So I'd like, a bit more of that. In actual fact, the second day of me moving into my new house last year, I just heard blades. And I was wondering, I was poking my head out the window trying to see what was going on because I could hear it before I could see it.
Yeah.
And then just all of a sudden, out of nowhere in the golden sunset, a Merlin just went straight over the house. And it did it 2 nights in a row, but it was one of those that every night after that for about a week I was there going, it was about this sort of time last night, where is it? No joy, but I got some nice shots of that as well. But the list is long. Germany would be nice, to go over to the States, maybe a red flag, something like that. It would be epic because there's so much in the aviation community and, you know, opportunities that we can get. So we've just got to see what the future holds, basically, and see how we get on. But yeah, that's my very long-winded answer to your question.
Nice. No, I like it. They're all good answers.
That's it.
Nice one.
That's it. Just goes to show the sort of variation on what people want and what they're interested in and what they put at the top of the list, don't they? So
Yeah,
no, it's good stuff.
And even better if you can make a holiday or an adventure or something out of it as well, then that just adds to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it's about having that good time with friends as well, isn't it? Or like-minded people. That's the thing I love about the hobby is that, like, you could be at the fence line of any base in the country, and you'll talk to about 6 or 7 people that you've not met before, and you'll instantly have something in common to talk about, and you'll probably talk to that person for about 3 or 4 hours. It's great. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, nice one. Well, cheers for that, Chris. Appreciate that question. It was a good one. Cheers for that.
No worries.
But with that being said, I think that just about gets us back to base after another flight. Chris, we hope you enjoyed it and there wasn't too much turbulence. What we'll do before we'll go around the group. Everyone can introduce their social media accounts, let us know your tags, let us know where we can find you. Chris, guests first. What social media platforms are you on and what are your tags?
Yeah, so I really just use Instagram. That's the main thing. Nothing exciting. Chris_Suckling 1986 is where you can find me.
Nice one, thank you. And over to you, mate.
So Instagram, you can find me Anthony_Fogarty_Aviation, and I'm also on Facebook, which is just Anthony Fogarty. And I do have a YouTube channel, which I keep telling myself I'm going to keep making videos for, but I never have time. So that's just Anthony Fogarty as well. But I will try and make some more videos soon.
Matt, what about you, mate? What social media platforms are you on?
So you can find me on Instagram, Matt_Bright_Aviation, and that is also the same for Facebook.
Nice one. And then myself, Afterburner Aviation, that's on both Instagram and Facebook. Obviously, for the main group, it's AvGeeksAssemble. That is on both Instagram and Facebook as well. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us for episode 7 of the Avgeeks Assemble podcast. We do hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Please drop us a DM on Instagram or join the Facebook group if you want to leave any feedback. Any feedback is welcome, regardless of, if it's positive or whether you've got any constructive criticism, because we are still learning. This is still very new to us, but we are really enjoying it. But yeah, so in episode 8, we'll have another special guest on the podcast. This time we'll be speaking to a stateside aviation photographer from South Carolina, who's gained an amazing following through Instagram and has almost 70,000 followers. When you see his amazing images, you will understand why. So if you can figure out who we mean and you would like to get your questions answered by this prolific Instagram AV togger, please send us a DM on Instagram, or we will start a topic on our Facebook group for you to post your questions on there. So thanks again, Chris, for joining us. We do look forward to seeing your images over the next few months. But yeah, thank you very much, mate. We appreciate your time.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. It's been great.
It's been great, Chris.
Pleasure.
Awesome.
Yeah, but for everyone else, stay safe out there, and we will see you at the fence.